Hello guys, this is another video recapping my travels. This is obviously separate from my bi-weekly sort of vlogs. I don't know if you can call them vlogs or bi-weekly journal entries is probably more appropriate. This is I think my fifth video now. I've split it down into many different videos talking about my travels. Obviously I like to record my life, that's why I do bi-weekly journal entries. And whilst I was travelling a few months ago now, I wasn't able to do these video entries, so I made these notes and I wanted to go back over them, telling the story, so I can listen back in years' time, because this travelling experience has been very important for my development. I know that's very cliche, but it's actually important for my development in other ways that you might believe. A lot of people say, oh, I'm more culturally experienced now, I'm more well-traveled. That's not what I mean. I've learned some massive lessons, and you know, I just wanted to. I mean, it's been fucking a long time now. It's now the 1st of October, so I need to get these down before I forget. Especially now, because when I went to check my notes, there's actually a massive blank spot of about 2 weeks where I didn't take any notes. So I need to do this now whilst my memory is fading. So last time we ended off, we were just leaving. Fuck. Can't remember exactly what country it was. I think it was Borneo. No. What the shit? See, this is why it was so long ago. So we just come out of Malaysia. Hang on. So. Yeah, fuck it. I don't. It's a city called Kota. To be completely honest with you, I forgot what country that's in. It's not overly important because that was last episode anyway. I have a little bit of a cold, so excuse me. But so I'm now starting from the 24th of May. All right. So we woke up, we left for the airport, a shortish flight. I bought a book on Jeff Bezos. And I'm like, oh my god, it's on my windowsill now. I'm looking at it. What a relic of the past. And yeah, I was reading it. I felt hella inspired actually, all about raising capital and stuff. It was like, oh my god, I can do this. The flight was quite pleasant. Sat next to the lovely Emma, and yeah, we landed. We saw loads of army dudes. I had to take a shit, and I used one of their like cultural toilets where you have to squat down. It's pretty difficult. I'm sure you get used to it though. I hear it's actually healthier for your bowels, but not overly important. So yeah, we got in the cab and we went to this fucking orangutan reserve centre, and we saw some sun bears, which are like little bears. And I remember I wasn't feeling that energized, and I wasn't really that excited about the bears. I mean, once I've seen one, I've seen them all, basically. I'm that kind of guy. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Oh, here's another one. Here's another one. And for the next 2 hours, I'm like, yeah, I was pretty good after the first one. Sorry to be a cunt, but I don't need to see all of them. You know, they're basically, not to be racist against bears or sun bears, but when you've seen one sun bear, you've kind of seen them all. Sorry. But yeah, I was just like dragging myself along behind my group. Fucking hell, all of a sudden my cold's got way worse. I apologise. This is not great for listening, but I can't be bothered to delay this again. So, yeah, so I saw some fucking sun bears, and we did see some orangutans. Obviously, they didn't really count because this was in an enclosure. It was quite cool though because they were quite free to walk around them where we walked, and we'd sat down and we were watching this like short documentary, and an orangutan literally walked right up to these folding doors, looked into the building and folded his arms, which was really funny actually. They're so close to human, or maybe we're close to ape, one of the two. And it was just so funny. And we thought like, oh my god, this must happen all the time. But then all the staff members like rushed out to close the doors, so I don't think they usually get that close. Yeah, it was quite funny. um, let's see. Oh shit, just fucked up my notes a little bit. Just reading the notes. So, I didn't have enough cash. Got a tiny minibus. Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember this. Yeah. My sister was like, make sure you have this money saved in cash for this date. She said it like 7 times. And then this was the day it came around. I didn't have enough cash. She was so pissed. I was like, I don't blame her, man. I'm such an idiot. But yeah, there was ATMs on the way anyway, so we managed to pay. And we got in this minibus, and it sucked. It was so fucking tiny, but thank the Lord. Like, it was so small, it literally would not be a legal vehicle in this country, in England. I could not even sit straight. I had to sit sideways because my legs would not fit in the gap. And bear in mind, I'm like 5'10", maybe 5'11". So I'm not a tall guy. It's crazy they have buses that I can't even... I'm not a big dude. I'm a regular sized dude. I can't believe I couldn't fit in there. Why the fuck are they making buses like this? But thank fucking God, it was just the 4 of us. If they crammed more, it would have been the most miserable fucking journey of my life. But luckily I could sit sideways because we had some room. So that was a blessing. Yeah, the bus was kind of long, but yeah, as I said, I could basically lie down sideways in the chair, so it was fine. And yeah, we eventually got to this dock. We got a boat ride up the river, and that was a cool ride. It wasn't quite as comfortable, but it was pretty cool. We got these life jackets on. We put our bags down by our feet, and we're on this fucking speedboat going up against the river. We're seeing lots of like baby alligators on the beach, and the guy was slowing down. It was really cool. I was sat next to Emma, my sister, and her boyfriend were behind us. The boat was only wide enough so like 2 people could sit side by side. And yeah, it was basically just a metal hull with a fucking engine on the back, you know, one of those ones. And yeah, that was like a 2-hour-long fucking boat journey as well. Fuck. And then we got off, and we walked up a steep, muddy hill into the jungle. And that was like, oh my God, you could slip over at any point and slide all the way down. Had these big bags, so that was quite rough, but it was alright. And we got up, and you know, my expectations were low, but oh my God, they even weren't met. My low expectations weren't met. They called it the 7-star hotel. It's quite funny now, but I was not up for jokes then. Excuse me. They called it the 7-star hotel, and they said that to me literally as I was looking at my bed, and I was not wearing a very nice face that day. I was pissed off. So we basically had like so we were on like a wooden hut on stilts, slightly above the ground, maybe 2 meters off the ground, and there was holes in the walls for windows and doors, but there was no doors to close. There was no windows to close. It was completely open to the elements. And we had like a little mattress on the floor, and thank fuck we did actually have a mosquito net over each bed, but it was shit. Yeah, oh, that's not that bad, man. Yeah, that's not that bad. Yeah, oh, at least you got you got your toilets, your communal area. Yeah, that's true. We did have toilets in the communal area, but the toilets didn't flush. The communal area, you can't fault really. They had food when it was like food time, and then the showers. Obviously, I should mention, we're a long way from the nearest road. We're so off-grid. By far the most off-grid I've ever been in my life. So there's no running water. There's no sewage systems. There's none of that shit. So to shower, because the lake's filled with crocodiles, you can't go in the fucking... Not lake, sorry, the river. The river's filled with crocodiles. You can't go in there, motherfucker. But to shower, we have these like silos of rainwater. But the silos have the top cut off. But guess what? There's monkeys living with us, basically. Not with us, but they're around us, and they can literally roll up on us if they wanted to. And we're actually given like a pep talk. We have like these weighted boxes with heavy lids to put our valuables into, because monkeys will literally, when we're gone, they will come and steal it. They'll go through your bag and they'll steal your shit. So there was a story of some lady getting her passport and wallet stolen. She was fucked. And apparently nobody could sleep that night because she was crying the whole night. Luckily that wasn't whilst we were there. We did have another sort of cool perk, which was we were like the four of us were the only part of our party, so we weren't joined by a bunch of randoms. I mean, we could have been joined by randoms and made friends for life, or we could have been joined by randoms that just made the trip miserable. But we were just happy to be alone, to be honest. So yeah, it was just us. Whenever we went on like exploration, it was just us. In the main camp, we did meet some other people, but we didn't really socialise, to be honest. Except 1 or 2 nights I did, and so did the rest of the group, to be honest. But yeah, so we had to put all of our shit into this weighted box, anything of value or any like sun cream or anything, so the monkeys can like smell it. They called them mafia monkeys. I can't remember what their actual species name is called. But yeah, I was pissed off. And we also just missed lunch and I was starving. We had to wait for dinner for hours. So that sucked so much. So, yeah. I don't actually have any more notes on my phone. So, for the next bit, I'm going to go straight off of memory. So, we were basically there for like 3 nights. And across those days that we were there, we split it into like some boat trips and some on land, like jungle walks, where we had this very knowledgeable tour guide. His name was Yarn. He was a cool guy. And he walked with us or drove the boat, and he pointed and explained or taught us the species of the animals or the birds or the lizards that we were seeing. Even the insects. He was very, very knowledgeable. Down to the plants as well. He could tell us everything. We did actually find one thing, and he's like, I've actually never seen that before. And we're like, no way, it must be hella rare then. Like, this guy's ability to like spot movement in trees like 200 meters away and say what the fucking species is insane. His eyesight and his attention to detail is fucking nuts. He'll be like, guys, can you see that? And we're like, no, what the hell are you pointing at? And then eventually we'll finally see it. But he saw it when the boat was fucking 100 meters behind us, you know? He was really good. Super cool guy. I mean, at the start, he didn't like me because I had a very stroppy face on because I was pissed off. But then I started to warm up to it a little bit. Still wasn't really happy with the whole situation, you know? My sister said that her friend recommended this, and I said to my sister, she's not your friend, man. This sucks. I would not recommend this to fucking anyone. In hindsight, I still wouldn't recommend it, but I'm glad I did it. So yeah, for the first day or two, I can't remember exactly what we did, but what we did do included, as I said, just journeys on the boat or journeys on land. We had about 2 adventures a day, and the main goal was to find orangutans. We didn't find a single one, by the way. That's like the whole point of the camp. We found lots of other birds and stuff and other species of ape and monkeys, but yeah, it was cool. I actually saw this fucking black squirrel with an orange belly. Nobody else saw it though, and I was like, yo, that's actually really sick. And you know, something about living in the jungle was kind of cool. It definitely didn't. It wasn't cool enough to outweigh how shit I felt. You're constantly covered in sweat, and you can't like wipe it with anything. You never clean. It sucked. I remember on the first day, I pulled Emma close to me and I just kissed her because I need a boost. So I kissed her. I can't remember if obviously that's not a real name. I can't remember if I was calling her Emma or what, but that's what I'm calling her today. If I called her something differently in the other videos, it's not a different girl. It's the same one. Yeah. So yeah, the whole trip, this whole like point, I was not that happy. She was also being a little bit more distant with me, and I thought maybe that's because we're in the jungle and we stink, which probably was an actual reason towards it. And I think it was on like the 3rd day or something. My sister and her boyfriend went on a fishing trip. It cost extra money, and I was like, no, I can't be fucking bothered. I'm just gonna stay here. And Emma did the same, and we sat in these hammocks and we just chatted for a while. And I felt like we bonded a little bit there. And then I don't know if it was that night after that. I can't remember exactly. But we were back in our beds. We had separate beds here on the fucking floor. And I was speaking to her, and she mentioned that her friend, who I also mutually know, had broken up with her boyfriend. And I was like, oh, that's a shame. And I said something like, isn't it a shame that people just break up nowadays? They don't really try and resolve their problems, so relationships really don't last that long compared to what they used to. And I think she somewhat agreed. She was like, yeah, yeah. But then we kind of got onto the conversation topic that is talking stages, which was slightly awkward for her to bring up because we're kind of in a talking stage, or what you might call talking stage. I'm not sure if anybody outside the UK will be familiar with that term. Talking stage is just sort of like when you and somebody you're interested in sexually are, or romantically, I should say, because I definitely was, not just sexually. When you and somebody you're interested in romantically talking basically, and it might not have been said straight up, but you both know that you kind of like each other and you're definitely attracted to each other. Yeah, that's like a talking stage before there's a label on it, basically. And she was speaking to me about talking stages, and she's like, yeah, well, talking stages, you talk to lots of people. And I'm like, what? And I said to her straight up, I said, are you talking to other dudes? And she said, not strictly, no. And I said, what do you mean strictly? Why did you put the word strictly in there? And then she just changed it to no. Now, as a straight thinking dude, if you're in that scenario and you're just thinking logically, the answer is GTFO. Get the fuck out. And I wish I could say that, gents, I didn't fuck around, I got out. Because, you know, at that point, obviously she's not talking straight, but in a way she is. She's trying to skirt around it, but she kind of just told me exactly the truth. She said, no, I'm not strictly talking to anyone else. And then, yeah, again, I said, what do you mean strictly? She says, no, I'm not. That's a lie, but I can tell that that's a lie. So that's basically talking straight. That's as close as women talking straight is going to get. Obviously, generalization. I'm sorry if I offended anyone out there. That's a big generalization. Unfortunately, it's definitely more than half of you, lovely ladies. Okay, sorry, but it's true. And at this point, it was pitch black. Okay, and I happened to know an area in the jungle where there was service for your phone. It was a short walk. It was in the pitch black, and I got out of my bed and I just fucking walked. Like, because after she said that, there was silence for about 20 minutes, and I was trying to sleep. I couldn't sleep because it was just going around in my head again and again. I was like, what do you mean she's strictly isn't talking to anyone else? What the fuck? Because there's been a few times, and I'm not like actively looking at her phone, but sometimes when she's texting, my eye will catch it, and I'll see that the fucking bitmoji is a dude. I try to have respect and not actually read the texts, and I pretty much never did that. But sometimes my eye would just catch it, and I'd see the bitmoji as a dude on Snapchat. I don't use Snapchat anymore because I'm not a homosexual, but she's a girl, so she still does use Snapchat. And yeah, so I'd see stuff like that, and I'd be like, oh, maybe it's her brother, or maybe it's just someone, I don't know. I tried not to let it go around in my head too much, because at the end of the day, I'm like, she's travelling with me. She asked me to come travelling with her. Surely she's not flirting with any other dudes. But then when she said that, she's strictly, in quotation marks, not talking to other people. I was like, dude, you gotta get out. So I got out, I walked to this place with service, and I looked at plane tickets, literally then. I looked at plane tickets, like, it's time to go. This is stupid. It's so dumb. It's time to get out. And you know what? I should have done it. I should have committed and I should have gone home. But I'm sorry, brothers. I was not fucking thinking straight. You know, I was so in love with this girl that I was not in any way to think straight and logically. So what did I do? I said, okay, I'll just talk to her tomorrow and then I'll make the mind up if I want to go home. And then I went back to the communal area. There was this other white dude that was in the camp with us, and he actually works there. He's actually from England, and he volunteered to work in this place for some reason. I don't fucking know. And he must have a lot of underlying issues. You would kind of assume that anybody who would choose to live in this jungle for a long time. And so I was sat next to him, and he was absolutely fucking plastered on rice wine. And yeah, he couldn't even sit straight. He was falling over in his chair whilst he was talking to me. and it was just me, him, and this German girl that he was fucking basically, and they both worked here in the jungle. It was the weirdest like three-way conversation I've ever had. So the German girl doesn't drink like me, and he was fucking trolleyed completely. And yeah, I can't even remember what we were talking about, but in the back of my head, it was just all about this other girl that I just spoke to, who said she was talking to other dudes, basically. And yeah, I was talking to be polite at the front of my brain, but at the back of my brain, it was all just one thing. And then it hit midnight, and the generator turned off, so it went pitch black. And we just chatted for a while. And again, I literally can't remember what the fuck we chatted about, but I wasn't really fully focused. And then it must have been maybe like 12:30. I finally went to bed. And the next morning, she asked me where I went. And I think I told her, honestly. But before that, we woke up, we had breakfast, then we got on a boat and we went. We might have actually got on the boat first, but we got on the boat for another little mini adventure to try and find orangutans. And I think this was our last day, actually, in the jungle. So we went out for one last look on the water to try and find orangutans, and we didn't find shit, which was a shame. And yeah, came back, had breakfast. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we had breakfast when we got back. And then after breakfast, I asked if I could just talk to her for a moment. She was like, yeah, cool. So we walked off into the bushes a little bit. And yeah, so after that, we walked back and I just explained to her, I'm like, look, I know that we're basically friends with benefits right now. I literally said that to her. She was like, oh, shh, don't say that too loud. And I explained to her that when she said that she might be talking to other dudes. Like, when she said that yesterday, I told her that fucking stung me. And I explained that, because she has told me at this point that she doesn't want to be in a relationship, but she said that we might potentially be in one down the line. And I know what that sounds like, guys, I know. But again, give me a break. I was not in the right mind to be thinking logically. I will never fall for this shit again. But I'm just being completely honest. And it's embarrassing to recap because I sound like a fucking idiot. But by this point, she'd already told me she didn't want to be in a relationship, but we were still pretty regularly having sex, and I really liked her, and I wanted to stick around in case she felt ready to go into one anytime soon, because I truly would have been a very, very happy man if it worked out, and if I didn't know that she was if I didn't, I won't say the rest because it hasn't come yet in the order of the story, but I explained to her, like, look, when you said that, it really hurt, and if you want to go on a hoe phase, that's completely fine. Just tell me. Because if that's true, then I won't try and approach you anymore. And I said that straight up to her. Fucking straight shooting. Bang, bang. 2 guns. And she said that she wasn't the kind of girl to be talking to multiple dudes at once. Foreshadowing. But she said that to me at the time. And she said, yeah, she still isn't ready for a relationship, but potentially in the future, she wouldn't write it off, is the word she used. She wouldn't write us off being together in the future. So yeah, that was the only thing I was worried about, was her, if she wanted to go on a hoe phase and be in a relationship with me later. Of course, my answer is no. I'm not a fucking prick. You know, I wouldn't allow that. That's fine if you want to do that, but just tell me. And yeah, that would have hurt at the time, but you know, my standards are much higher than that. I'm not just going to be your backup, or after you've had your quote-unquote fun, to just fall back on. You know, of course not. But I just wanted her to tell me, and she couldn't. Or she told me that she wasn't going into a hoe phase. She just wasn't ready for a relationship yet, and we might be one in the future, basically, is what she told me. So, with that, I was over the moon. And I was like, great, glad I didn't book the flights. Twat. If I went back in time, I'd slap myself in the face so hard. So we went back, we went to this little jungle, like, hotel. It was like a jungle hotel theme, but luckily it was in the mainland of roads and sewage and running water, which was so nice to be close to again. Goodness gracious. We were in room number 1. And, our beds were separated, and she could see on my face that I was disappointed. And she actually initiated the action to push them together. So in my head, I was like, fuck yeah, we're down. And of course, we had lots of alone time that day, and we read the Bible, if you know what I mean, in our room number 1. And we spoke about life whilst we were completely tangled up in each other's limbs, I remember, pretty fondly actually. Sorry to be inappropriate for a moment. I just have to include these details because they happen. Yeah, we just chatted about life. I believe it was school life actually that we talked about. And she did tell me a few other things which I won't like mention because they were actually her secrets. But they were sort of like, yo, what? What? Like they were kind of bad, but I was still willing to overlook them. And I truly believe that there's really bad things that I wouldn't overlook. To be honest, I don't fucking know. I was so down bad, guys. It's impossible to say. I'll be very interested to put myself in a simulator where I didn't, yeah, like to see how much shit I would put up with before saying fuck this. Maybe I would never want to know. Maybe I'll completely lose respect for myself. But it's fair to say throughout this whole sort of adventure, I think like subconsciously I have lost a bit of respect for myself because I've been a fucking bitch. Luckily, I can obviously build that up. And I think I've started to slightly, but it'll take time because I was a fucking pussy-hole. Anyway, after spending a lovely day in this hotel, we just spent basically all day together and had a lovely time. We had some sort of serious talks at dinner and some of our meals as well. And I was straight up. I was like, I know you said you don't want to be in a relationship, but I want to be in a relationship with you, and I will wait for you. As long as you don't sleep with other dudes whilst I'm waiting for you, I'll be there. And I fucking meant it. And I literally would have done anything for this girl. And I could not have been more straight up. I've since learned actually through a few like bro science and a few of these dating coaches say that's literally the worst thing you can do. And you know, my experience sort of does reflect that. So it's funny to see that I was literally doing the worst thing I could have done. I will say though, in the moment where I was doing it, she was kind of into it. I could see in her eyes she was kind of into my talking, what I was saying. She's like, "Oh my god, your voice goes so different when you talk about this." I'm like, "I'm serious, babe. All right, I'm serious about this." And I fucking was. I meant everything I said to her at the time. Completely. I meant everything I said to her and more. I didn't even fully expose how much I liked her because it would have freaked her out 100%. So like, even though I said I liked her a lot, I liked her fucking 5 times more than what I was saying. But I had to sort of refrain it because even in my massive depths of being completely in love, I still understood that it'll be quite overwhelming to her if I told her like exactly how I felt. I even understood that in that state. So yeah, a day later we went to the airport to go to the Philippines from Malaysia or Borneo. I don't even remember if that's a different country. Somewhere in Malaysia, I think it's a different country. So I think we're in Borneo. And I'll look that up after this video. It's not overly important though. I mean, guys, for this whole trip, as I said this before, and I'll say it again, damn it. I literally was following everyone. Like, my sister was doing most of the organising. I didn't know where the fuck I was going to be next week. I mean, the truth was, it was planned, but I didn't give a shit. The whole reason why I was here was for Emma. I did not give a fuck about travelling. And I've mentioned it probably before as well, and I'll say it again. I had an ex-girlfriend who wanted me to go travelling, and I was like, no, travelling is stupid. Why the fuck would I do that? And to be honest with you, my opinions on travelling did not change. I still thought it was retarded. I'm still broke. But no, I'm not still broke, but I've significantly got less money still. And, you know, I went for this girl, basically. That's how much I liked her. Why did I say that? Oh yeah, because I can't even tell you what fucking country I was in because I was that uninterested in travelling. Fuck. So yeah, we were in the airport and all of a sudden we realised that to enter the Philippines, you actually need a ticket out of the Philippines. We didn't have that yet. We were planning to be in the Philippines for like something like 2-ish weeks. We had some other boat tours planned and all that shit. So we hadn't actually had an out yet because that's kind of the fun. I mean, we had things booked sort of 2 weeks in advance, but no more than that. We were sort of changing and doing whatever the fuck we wanted whilst we were there. We hadn't booked it all the way to the end before we'd left England, you know. That was what the girls really wanted to do. That's what they found fun. To me, it does make a difference. Well, actually, it does, because the feeling of we don't actually have a home time is pretty cool, to be fair. Anyway, yeah, so we're in the airport and we realised that we need to book an out of Philippines ticket. So it sort of forced us to think ahead, and it was a funny one because we hadn't quite decided between Emma and I. Is that, I keep forgetting, is that the name I gave her? Fuck. We hadn't decided yet if I was definitely going to go to Australia with her. And this was the moment where she spoke to me about it twice. She mentioned it once on the boat when we were going across the boat in Indonesia. And then she actually did mention it again when we were laying down together in that jungle hotel. And I was sat there like, fuck. I didn't want to bring it up because it's weird. I'm like, I hope she brings it up and asks me. And lo and behold, she did. She asked me again. She's like, all right, then let's book us to go to Australia together. And I was like, great. And obviously I was over the moon, you know, guys. You know, this, I want you to understand that I have touched on this once or twice, but definitely more than once or twice, motherfucker. But I've touched on this before, where I want you to understand this was not just a crush. That I was so in love with this girl. Imagine a crush that you've had, probably times it by 6, and now imagine that girl asks you to follow her across the world. Imagine what that feels like, please. And then judge me on my actions. If you could truly, truly empathise with what that feels like, then you can judge me on my actions. Of course, I'm completely open to judgment. I'm not delicate, you know. Not that anyone's fucking watching this shit anyway. But, you know, it's just for what I'm thinking now, listening to myself talk. And I'll probably listen to this again in the future, being like, you fucking idiot. But hey, in the moment, you know, I don't blame myself, man. But anyway, so we booked the tickets to Australia. You know what's funny is when I thought about doing these videos, I wanted to do it in a way where I wanted to word it in a way where the end result would be very surprising and a massive mic drop moment. But that has completely gone out the fucking window. I just can't help myself. It's so hard. Anyway, fuck that. Oh my god. So yeah. Wouldn't it be interesting if I did word it in a different way so it'd actually be enjoyable to listen to and have a big surprise at the end? Alright, I'm not doing it. Fuck that. I've got too much shit to do than redo this whole thing for that shit. Okay, but basically, we'd finalised that we were going to go to Australia together. I think, yeah, so after like the 2 weeks in the Philippines, we were going to do that. It was going to be fantastic. You know what? I just realised this is going to be a kind of a long video. So basically, I'm going to end it here and we're going to start again when we fly to the Philippines. Thank you. Have a good one.